you graduated with the chemical engineering degree. With that mindset, how do you approach brewing beer nowadays?
Yeah, so these days, I feel like I've judged enough and drank enough commercial beers that I have a pretty strong understanding of what I like and what I don't like, and I would say that that's a great reason to judge and a great reason to just always be kind of critically evaluating beer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I kind of begin with the end in mind, to take the Stephen Covey phrase, and kind of think about like, okay, what flavors do I want? Do I want it dry, or do I want it, medium bodied? Am I going to put this on nitro? Because I got a nitro setup now.
Oh, nice.
Um, and and then usually I'll do some online searches, kind of look at.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like the uh, Craft Beer and Brewing Magazine, Make Your Own. I think Josh Weichert writes that column. I like the Gordon Strong columns. I like to read the Brew Your Best on BYO.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I'll kind of search on those three, and then maybe just do some extra searches, look up some recipes. But I think typically kind of I'll do like a first pass recipe just out of my head,
Mm-hmm.
and then usually require some significant revisions as I read about them. And it's always a good idea also to look at the BJCP style guideline.
Right.
At least for me, I would say I generally brew to style, unless it turns out terribly. No, sometimes I have found that what I try and brew is not what I brew, and that's another thing you learn from judging
Mm.
is, you call the beer what it is, not what you wanted it to be, right?
I've heard that phrase a few times.
Yeah. So I guess that's pretty much the approach, and these
Yeah.
days I'm not really equipment limited, so
Okay.
I can lager, I can decoct. I generally don't necessarily do a lot of IPAs because it can be hard to keep oxidation out, and I feel like if you want to make a good IPA, that's kind of important.
Right. Yeah, that's a very valid point. I've heard that a few times. So far, I've not made an IPA either. I've done like American Pale Ale, like the Sierra Nevada clone. I've done that one. That one turned out fairly well. One thing I want to try to start using is adding a little bit of oh, I just had it too. Sorbic acid? Is that what it is? That helps with oxidation?
Hmm.
I
I think
think
I've seen some enzymes.
yeah.
I'm not
I'm
sure what you're
drawing a
thinking
blank
of
on
though.
yeah, I'm drawing a blank right now. I was reading some article. I actually bought it and I used it in my cloche because I have a hard time making a cloche. My cloches turn out more on the not so good side. This one I actually
Okay.
brewed is actually pretty good. If I can remember what it's called, I'll definitely bring it up here in a minute. But kind of go back to your chemical background or your chemical engineering background. Do you ever find yourself like reading like the spec sheets of like hops and grains and yeast and see how that can attribute to the beer style that you're trying to accomplish?
I do find those interesting, and the Brewers Association has like the malt, hops,
Mm,
water
mm,
series, yeast. I like to read at the kind of technical level, but generally I don't typically order online. I like to go to my local shop
oh heck
and
yeah!
get what I need. So half the time I could research all in the world and then find, oh well, they actually don't have the hop or the yeast or two of the specialty malts I wanted. So it,
So that's
take
fair
what you
point.
can get.
Yep.
But I have again, you can upgrade, right? So I one of my cheaper upgrades was just to get grain storage and a mill,
Mm, mm-hmm,
and so now I do have like floor malted Bohemian Pilsner malt, so I can at least do that, which
mm-hmm.
my local shop doesn't always have. Um,
Right.
yeah.
So I keep a little bit of green on hand. I got like maybe 30 pounds of two row and a bunch of different like caramel malts, some chocolate malts and stuff like that. So I can just kind of whip something together really quick. Have a lot of hops and you kind of need to burn through before they get too much older. So I may start making some smash beers just to see what they kind of bring to the party.